Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ARK Survival Ascended. And today, I finally finished up another mutation project, and this time it is the Cryolophosaurus. So, here we go. This is the final one that I have come out with that I will go ahead and use for myself, and let's take a look at the stats. So, we're looking at about 30,000 health right now after all of the points that I've gone ahead and added on. And we got about 5,300 oxygen, which is pretty decent, and I'll cover that in a minute. And our melee damage is not as high as I'd like it to be, so I'm definitely going to have to go ahead and put the rest of the points into melee. But for those who are not too familiar with the Cryolophosaurus, this guy goes ahead and fills a much different role than most theropods in the game. He's not exactly very strong on his own. However, he makes up for it in providing some supportive roles, both in combat and in taming. So the oxygen stat goes ahead and gives us access to cryoliquid. The higher your oxygen stat, the more cryoliquid you can store. And cryoliquid performs a couple different duties, and that comes in the form of the two ranged attacks that the cryo has, which is the frost breath and the torp spit. And this galley's offering himself ever so nicely, so we're going to just hit him with the torp spit a couple times, and that will apply a bunch of torpor whenever we hit something. And I don't really know why I chose a galley to test that out on, but yeah, let's go find something a little bit better, something that has a lower chance of being able to escape. You know what? Here, let me try this, actually. Just grab a bola, and then we can hit that deer over there. Used to bolas being at top. I think that's changed they recently made. But anyway, yeah. Just to go ahead and show off the damage, this of course is not to wild creatures, this is survivors. Survivors take more damage than creatures do, so we're looking at almost 400 damage per bite, which isn't anything too bad. Of course, once we actually test that on a normal creature, that damage is going to go down significantly. So let's just go ahead and hit the deer with a bola. There we go, and whoop. Alright, so we're going to switch over to our range stance, and we are going to try and freeze it solid. And we are instead just going to kill it. Okay. Well, this isn't going well. Let me try and find something else. I don't want to use a rhino because, there's too many of them here, and I don't want to get thrown around, but there's nothing else that's really going to fight back. Let me just go ahead and fill up on our cryoliquid. There we go. Now, obviously, you need to be near snow or water in order to fill the cryoliquid. You can't just fill it from anywhere. And unfortunately, a lot of the snow on this map, because it's not like actual on-the-ground snow, it just is kind of dusting. It sits on the ground. I guess it's cosmetic, I guess is the easiest way I can say it. It doesn't actually count as snow for the cryo. At least it doesn't tend to most of the time, so I prefer just filling up with water. But here, let's go ahead and try to freeze this guy solid. Hopefully we can pull that off, or we're just going to kill it again. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned that I may have gone ahead and mutated these things a little bit too much. Okay, let's see if a rhino can tank it. Alright. And nope, it just dies again. That was a bit of a lower level one, so let's try this one. We're looking at here. Alright, this one we should be able to freeze it solid. Hopefully. Just try. I can just... Alright, there we go. So now we've frozen him solid, so I will now do more damage. We're up to 350, as opposed to the, 200 or something we were doing earlier. And when creatures are frozen, the cryo will do more damage to them. But that also applies for when they are knocked out. So if I can just hit one more shot, perfect. When creatures are knocked out, let's just walk back up to it, and there we go, 450. So I think you can combine both of those together into... I think both those effects can work at the same time. And obviously I didn't even test Hyperstate will go ahead and increase your damage further, so combining all of those together is something that we're going to go ahead and test right here. Let's see, Trike, not very high level. Mammoth, Carno? Nah. We'll find something around here. I'm sure there's something that we can go ahead and use. I want to see, is that mammoth kind of on its own? Maybe not. 95. 95. Alright, this one's on its own, and I think it should be able to tank it. So we're going to start by just knocking it out. A little bit of hit reg problems, I guess. I'm not really sure how much torpor this guy actually applies with the spits, so I'm going to have to go ahead and look into that. Later on, I want to go ahead and test to see just how good this thing is going to be at knocking things out, so I'm thinking we'll probably take it up against a Bronto, because I think Brontos have the highest torpor on the map. But now that we have it knocked out, let's go ahead and freeze it. Okay, there we go. We froze it. Turn on hyperstate, and with all that combined, this is also plus a veil when we do almost 600 damage, and it's going to take more damage the more we hit it in hyperstate because it applies an effect that goes ahead and increases how much damage you take. So, yeah, honestly, when everything's combined, this guy actually does a pretty decent amount of damage. Obviously not going to be great if I just want to run around and go ahead and attack things. That's going to be saved for my Malwin or even my Soulwin, I think, is better at combat than this guy, but I wanted to go ahead and really mutate these guys for the sake of knocking things out. There are some things coming up in the future that I'm going to want to be taming a lot of, and one of them, if I am correct, is going to need a lot of torpor to take it down. So I have a ton of shocking trank darts from all the dragon hordes I've opened throughout my time here on this map, so I don't really need to worry about running out of those, but I do want to see how good these guys would be at knocking things out. And let's just go ahead and check the level. 25, so let's just spit at it. 1, 2, and it's already running away, so that's pretty impressive. Let's see if it actually falls over. Doesn't look like it. Here, let's try hitting something else. I want to go ahead and take my magnifying glass up to something just to actually see how much torpor a single spit does. So I'm actually going to grab another bola, and I'm going to take it to the horse, and we'll see how that works. There we go. Perfect. Alright, and no, don't attack him. We're just going to put one thing of torpor spit, and should have a magnifying glass. There it is. Looks like we're doing about almost 700. We're gonna make it up to 750. All right, about 750 torpor per spit. I can't remember exactly how much a single trank dart for me does. It's probably a couple thousand, but obviously, this is an infinite supply of tranks, whereas shocking tranks, especially on certain maps, can be really difficult to get access to. Which, from what I understand, these guys are on the island, and ever since ASA, Nidaria don't really spawn on the island, so getting a hold of shocking tranks is a little bit difficult there. Well, they spawn, I think, only in the caves, so a little bit difficult to get access to biotoxins, so getting these guys to help you knock things out on the island might actually be a really good method. But let's just go ahead and knock this thing out, and yeah. Really fast fire rate as well, so I would say that the torpor per second is probably higher. But yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with how these guys turned out, and I'm really happy with how the colors are. I was a little bit nervous when I went ahead and combined them all, as I was trying to go for more of an Emperor Penguin, but obviously this is more of a King Penguin with a darker orange, but it's close enough. Unfortunately, their color regions make it really difficult to have both black and white on the main body, so I think that this came out pretty well. And with the exception of the first region, you can actually get all of the regions that matter through wild ones, so you don't even need to go too crazy on the mutations to get all the colors you want. But anyway, let's go ahead and try and find something to test this guy out on that will actually test how much torpor he can do. So, as I said earlier, I'm thinking of Bronto because that's probably the highest torpor creature that is here on the map. I'm not exactly sure, though. Also, I know Brontos aren't particularly common, so it might take us a while to find one. We got a Parasaur here. Parasaur should have About torpor. Let's see if this one's a good level. 55. No. I'll give it a little bit of a look. I might also try and hit a Ledu and a Mega Raptor just to see if these guys can apply torpor to creatures that normally their torpor is applied in different methods than normal tranks. So I just want to see if this works. I feel like I actually already tested on my own whether or not these guys can affect Mega Raptors with torpor, but I can't remember, so I'll probably go ahead and just test that out. Honestly, given that we can't really take these guys into combat, I'm not exactly sure what the best way to test them out is. I might go ahead and try them on a resource cache, just like a Gamma, just to see how he does, but I'm a little bit worried about Bison being able to pick me up. But yeah, these guys are mostly just useful for a support role, so obviously for solo play, they're not exactly the best for combat, but I think that their ability to help you with taming is still really nice. I mean, just having pretty much an infinite amount of tranks if you are near water or snow, I think that's a pretty nice thing to have access to, so let's just see if there's a higher level one here. We got 140, alright, I will tame that. So let's go ahead and knock him out. Hopefully this goes okay, and hopefully that Dinotherium doesn't become a problem. Let's pull him out, and let's see. Okay, it does drain all the cryo liquid. That's a max level. That's kind of scary. And, okay, it looks like I can actually pick up some snow here. You know, I don't actually know if Dinotherium have a torpor stat, so let's just see what happens. Sure, this is probably one of the worst ideas I've had in a while. Let's see, just keep hitting it. I really like the evade thing that these guys have, even if it's not particularly useful. Is it running away, or is it just trying to get around the tree? It is just trying to get around the tree. Alright. It's hard to tell if this is because it just has a really high torpor, or if they just can't get affected with it at all. I'm kind of going to guess that they just can't get affected at all. Okay, it does look like Hyperstate does increase our damage, which would increase our torpor as well. I bet freezing something would also go ahead and help as well. Let's just get rid of this Carno. And, alright. Come on. Gotta be honest, I don't think this thing is gonna fall asleep anytime soon. I mean, this is a lot of torpor. I mean, now that I think about it, this is over. If we do 750 torpor per shot, then this is definitely... Yeah, no, this thing should be asleep by now. I really wish there were Gigas on this map that I could go ahead and test this thing out on, because that would be interesting to knock out a Giga with a Cryo, though. Probably would still want to trap it. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and kill this thing. I don't think it's able to be knocked out. Let's just go ahead and quickly... Come on. Actually, you know what am I doing? I'll just let Mischief handle this. Unless he just wants to ignore me. There we go. And, yep, there we go. Oh. Okay. I mean, thanks for wanting to help, I guess. Alright, we'll go ahead and whistle passive this time, so we can go ahead and actually hit this Bronto in peace. Yeah. Here we go. This is where things are actually going to get interesting. How much will it take for us to knock out a 140 Bronto? And just to make sure it is this orange one, right? Yes. It's 95. It's not awful. Alright, so we have... Hold on, can you get over here? Oh, you're being chased by a Carno. Everything just want to interrupt my attempts to tame this guy, doesn't it? Okay. One more time. Let's remember to turn on Hyperstate. Let's aim for the head, just see. Do we get headshot multipliers? No, we do not. So, it doesn't look like that's going to be helpful. One more. And let's go ahead and put on Thunder Power, just because we can. I missed. To wait for it to come off cooldown again. Really was not keeping track of how much spit we've gone ahead and used here. Let's see. I mean, my guess is that it's got to be getting pretty low here. Wrong one. Alright. Just hop over here. And should be able to hit it from here, right? Yep, there we go. That's gonna hit the tree. Oh, maybe not. Oh. Rude. Come on. Stop running. Guess it's pretty nice considering on a map like Lost Colony where there's just snow everywhere. It's pretty nice to be able to just sit here and knock things out this way. Oh. I thought that it was it going down. This thing is tanking a lot more than I thought it would be. Oh, come on. Well, I'm glad I mutated them. Let's see. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. Alright, I wasn't exactly keeping count very well, and I definitely want to go ahead and check the torpor of that bronzo, because I do not remember how much torpor bronzos have. You guys can go ahead and finish that off. Thank you. I gotta get on this. Mutating Veilwind still may have been the greatest mutation project I've done this time. Alright, let's see. So, okay, we have almost 20k torpor. That's pretty decent. Just go ahead and drop 20 kibble. We'll go ahead and tame this guy up. I could use a really good berry harvester. Even better than my bison. Yeah, so, I mean, it wasn't exactly the fastest thing in the world, and considering that I do have an absolutely insane long neck rifle, I mean, 500 damage. I mean, it probably would have been faster to do it that way, but, I mean, this is completely free. I mean, as long as there's snow and you feed it, I mean, you don't ever have to worry about running out of any form of tranquilizers ever again, as you can just indefinitely fill this up. So on maps like the island where there's a lot of water, I mean, I'd highly recommend this guy, and I mean, obviously Lost Colony is there's snow kind of everywhere, though I would be a little bit careful because sometimes the snow can be, yeah, I mean, there's pretty obviously snow here, but it won't let me fill up the liquid. Though, honestly, now I think about it, that might just be because I'm full, so here, let's try it again. Okay, yeah. I have had it not really work out sometimes, though, so I'm not completely crazy. But there is one other creature I want to try this on, and that's a Utai, because I don't actually know if these things are affected by Fear Roar, because if they aren't, then this may be one of the best ways to knock out a Utai. I notoriously struggle with Utais because I can't ever trap them. Every time I try to trap a Utai, they just don't seem to go into the trap, or once I get them in the trap, they just kind of, I guess, just phase out of the trap. And I've been using my Desmodus this time around, and it works, but Desmodus are affected by Fear Roars, and having my Desmo just fly around for 20 seconds after I go ahead and get Fear Roared is really annoying. So it would be nice if I could simply just go ahead and use a Cryo in order to do it. But we're just going to head around. There should be a Utai around here somewhere, and if not, maybe there will be a Ledu, because I do want to test if that works, though. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really expecting it to work, but we'll see. Let's actually just go ahead and track a Utai. We don't need to go ahead and try and find one. There we go, right down here. Gene Scanner has made this game so much easier, if we're being perfectly honest here. Honestly, though, it is a little bit overpowered, and, alright, heard it. There we go. It's only level 60, which isn't that impressive, but that's okay. We're here for testing purposes, not for actual taming purposes. Though I might test this guy out on taming an Ocelot, so we may go ahead and do that here in a bit. Just trying to find more and more things I can do with this. Just hop over here. And would it help if I filled up first? There we go. Let's just go ahead and hit him once. Oh. So I missed. Come on. Let me up here. This Cardinal's gonna be a problem, so I may as well just take it out now. There we go. Alright. Hopefully now we'll be okay. Really? That didn't hit? There we go. 2, 3, 4. Let's see, can we make a fear roar? No, we cannot! Okay, so they are not immune to fear roar, and it only takes 1 fear roar, so that's not great. Oh, it looks like Mischief's dealing with him. I'll just go ahead and use my shotgun. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? And you're just running into a rock. Alright, so guess not exactly great at going ahead and knocking out Utahs, so that's not great. I guess now let's head over and see how they'll be at knocking out Ledus and Megaraptors, or I guess more if they even can. I don't really know, so I'm gonna go test that out real quick. So let's just go ahead and find one. There's a Ledu over here, and then a Megaraptor is gonna be a little bit harder to find, so that one might take some time. But here we go. Ledu right over. Is this the one that we saw earlier? Yeah, it looks like it. Alright. I doubt that we're gonna be able to get cryo liquid out of this, but let's just see. Yeah. Where am I gonna be able to fill up on some, but also be able to hit him? Maybe right over here will work. There we go. Perfect. Alright, we'll give it a couple shots, and then we'll go in and see what the magnifying glass says, though. Looks like I've fallen below where it is. Is there another way around? Oh, there we go. Let's activate hyperstance. State. Alright. Hit it a couple times. Ow. Let's just hop off so we don't take all that fall damage. Alright, hold up passive. Alright. Is it in blocking stance or... No, it's just falling. Not really... Can't really see. Up here we go. Magnifying glass, where is it? I don't know why there's so much lag when going into my inventory right now. Okay, we are not getting any torpor here. Okay, so it doesn't work on a Ledu, so I'm guessing that means it's probably not going to work on a Megaraptor, but we may as well go test it out while we wait for that Bronto, and I guess try to find a Ocelot to tame, because I do want to try that out. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck down here without my Aureliac, so, oh, I have Aurora. Perfect. Yeah. Honestly, these guys aren't exactly the best since I am playing solo, and I feel that it definitely would have been better early on when I needed a way to go ahead and apply torpor, and I didn't really have a really good long neck with an unnecessary amount of shocking trank darts, but honestly, they're still fun, and I do like that they do help with the taming process. I really hope we get to see more creatures like that. And from the sounds of it, the new TLC for the Urania sounds like it's going to be pretty helpful for that too, so that's pretty nice addition to go ahead and add. I really hope we get to see more creatures that'll help us tame things. Is always a nice role to go ahead and add, especially when you're someone who tames a ton of creatures. I don't even want to know how many creatures I've tamed just in this series alone. I mean, the number of cryos I tamed in order to get all these stats, plus all the wild colors, is a lot. So, hopefully, whatever next creature I decide to go with will be a little bit easier than that, and hopefully in the future they'll add more creatures that'll help out with the taming process, and hopefully they'll actually be better than just using normal shocking trank darts. I am curious though what the torpor to damage ratio is of their corpse bit compared to a shocking trank dart, because it would be interesting to know if it's actually a more damage efficient way to knock things out. That'd be helpful, especially with creatures like galleys that have really bad health to torpor ratio. And alright, we got 2 mega raptors here. They're really low level, so I'm guessing we could probably knock them out really fast, assuming that we can even do torpor to them at all. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't think we're going to be able to. I'm guessing they probably saw through that, but you never know. On the off chance it does work, this would probably be the greatest thing for people who are looking to Mega Raptors ever. I'm not really noticing any signs, though, so... Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that probably doesn't work. Go ahead and whistle passive here, though. And can I get one more? There we go. Alright. I can't pull out a magnifying glass while on the back of the creature, right? Yeah, I can't. Alright. Here, let's... I don't know why the frame rate's being so bad. There seems to be some weird lag going on recently. Alright. There we go again, and... No, I can't access this inventory. Alright, well, yeah, so doesn't look like we can go ahead and knock out Mega Raptors either, which is unfortunate. And we can't knock out Ledus, but hey, normal creatures that require just a normal knockout method work really well, so... Yeah, if you're looking to tame normal vanilla Rexes, or, I mean, honestly, even Gigas would probably be a really good assistant for that. I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about wasting probably, I mean, what is it, dozens of shocking trank darts with even a 200% long neck. So, I mean, I would recommend them if you're on a map that you have access to creatures that need a lot of torpor to be knocked out, as well as, has a lot of water or snow. Unfortunately, right now, they really haven't added a lot of creatures that just require torpor to knock them out, so unfortunately that kind of makes the main use of these guys for the sake of PvE kind of just not necessary. I mean, it would be nice to go ahead and use these guys in the snow cave now that I think about it, on the island, simply because you have a bunch of snow, so you'd have access to your frost breath at all times. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, biggest thing that I notice these guys being used for is probably for helping me tame things, and unfortunately without a bunch of creatures that just require a ton of torpor to knock them out, I don't really see myself getting to use that a lot. Though there is one that's coming out soon that's going to require torpor in a more normal way, so I might go ahead and test it out with that, but let's see if we can find ourselves an Oceanon to tame. Unfortunately, they're pretty rare, and I've tamed a couple of them recently, so I'm not really sure if there are any on the map right now outside of the city, so I'll take a quick loop around, and if I find one, we can go ahead and test it out, and if I don't, then we'll go pick up that Bronto, and honestly, it's going to be a bit of a shorter one, but I might just end it there. I mean, not really sure what else I can test this guy out on, so I'll go take a quick look around the map, and then depending on what I find, we'll see what we do next. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, it's not even 30 seconds later, and there's a 145 Oceanon. So, I guess I know what we're doing now. Let's just go ahead and bring this up. Really? Really don't like that they can do that. Alright, we do need to bring this guy down. Actually, he's... Never mind, he's actually at a pretty good level here. I see Trikes, RGs. Let's go ahead and just pick up the Reliacs and pull out Blizzard one more time. Probably should have gone ahead and healed him, but, I mean, in my defense, I really wasn't expecting there to be an Oston right here. So we'll see how this goes, and I'm just going to set this up just to help us tank a little bit more damage. Let's just take a quick look to see if there's anything around here that's going to get in our way. That Rex will definitely be a problem. Let's go ahead and take him out. There we go. Alright, I really don't like Dodex, but I'll make it work. We'll see what happens. And I just now remembered that I don't have a Sanguine on me, so I'm going to need to go ahead and head back for my Desmos anyway. And okay, there seems to be some weird problem whenever I access my inventory, so yeah, sorry about all the lag and frame drops around here. Not normally like this, so I don't really know what's going on. But yeah, let's just go ahead and start working on knocking out this Oston, or I guess going ahead and applying the Torpor. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. That's how many shots it takes with my long neck right now. Yep. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think? 10. Uh-oh. Let's avoid that. What's this? 12, I think? Right? I'm having trouble keeping track at this point. Come on, a little bit more. 12. I'll let it take out that Rhino before we go ahead and finish this off. Unless it just didn't want to. There we go. 13, 14, alright, 14 shots, I think, roughly. A little bit hard to keep track. That's a decent amount. I mean, again, considering that it's completely free, there's no resources required to make it, so not awful, though you're definitely going to want good health, as well as a good saddle to tank the Osnon, because obviously these guys do a lot of damage. Speaking of which, hopefully this guy will come out with good damage, as that's one of the only stats I'm missing for them, actually. I think the other one that I'm missing is oxygen, so not particularly... I think the hair length is tied to oxygen, and the hair doesn't look particularly long, so I'm guessing that we're probably going to need to be hoping for damage here. Though I'm not sure about the claw length. Let's just go ahead and make our way over to these Dodex and pick them up. Oh, right. Rex probably not going to be happy about me being over here. Alright, well, hopefully Mischief can go ahead and take care of it on his own. Oh, another leg spike. I might have to start messing around with some settings if this becomes more of a problem. We got Mega Raptor. Yeah, we can pick those up too. Alright. And having awful luck with taming these guys and getting good stats recently, so maybe going ahead and doing it while recording will go ahead and get me a good stat. Please. That'd be really nice. It's probably not going to happen. Alright, almost done with the icicles though. And I need to just pick up 2 more creatures. Let's see, what's it going to toss out next? Another Dodex, thanks a lot. There we go. Alright. And now I need to get out of here as fast as I possibly can. Hopefully... Let's see, what's he doing right now? Okay, he's dealing with the Dodex and the Mega Raptor. Okay, I should probably go ahead and switch over to using my long neck, but that's not fun. So let's go grab Blizzard real quick and then head back down there. Alright, there he is. All filled back up on cryoliquids, so let's just see how this goes. Apparently none of my shots are hitting. And I forgot to put on hyperstate again. A little bit more damage. Let's just go ahead and apply the healing. Jump backwards, come on. Jump back. I honestly really like the little evade ability. Alright, there we go. That one seemed to go a lot quicker. I'm guessing that's probably because I actually remembered to use hyperstate there. Alright, we've got a baby rhino and a vulture. Those will work. I need to stay clear of the adult rhino though, because that will not be able to be put into the bolus. We got a Dodec. That one's moving. I've noticed that, Dodecs that are curled up in a ball tend to be really difficult to maneuver around when they get thrown out of the bolus, so I tend to try and avoid them if I can. And normally, if you are struggling with that, I recommend that when you have a creature in the bolus, you just kind of turn around if it's one that can actually get the Oston stuck on it. It's also why I like using things like vultures, because they're so small the Oston can just walk over them. I don't know why the Oston can't just walk over a Dodec. I would think that a giant ape this big would be able to step over a little ball of keratin on the ground, but I guess not. Actually, this is the last creature, so it doesn't really matter. There we go. Alright, is he mad at me? Yes, he is. Alright. Let's just hop back onto Blizzard. And how's our health looking? Yeah, we're actually doing pretty good. Let's just get the rest of that, and I think I'm gonna have to take this guy out. Come here. Sorry, buddy. You're too big a risk. Oh, Dilo, please stay away. You're the one creature around here that I know I can pick up. Just get me out of the icicles so I don't end up taking a bunch of damage myself. Almost there. Should be... Yep, there we go. Okay, that's actually a really effective way of doing that. And honestly, if you have a good saddle, you wouldn't even need one with that ridiculous of health either. Of course, I wouldn't exactly recommend it over using something like a Desmodus or a Malwyn and a long-neck rifle with shocking tranks, but if you're looking to go ahead and switch it up, it can be pretty fun. Alright, last run, so this shouldn't take too long. Oh, the Dilo's dead, though. Let's just look around. Maybe we'll be able to find something other than Dodecs to use. Maybe there'll be some more vultures or something, please. Or, oh, see some down here. Oh, great. I hate it when this happens. Let's try and pick up everything except the Dodec. There we go. Oh, and that's a Dodec. Really wish that Megaraptors couldn't aggro onto you while you're doing this, but... gonna be honest, I may need to sacrifice Mischief here, because that Megaraptor keeps trying to catch me. It's just gonna end up getting me tossed off the Ocedon. Actually, here. Run that over. Should be able to spit out some icicles any second now. Okay. And there we go. And, alright, now I need to get out of here as fast as I can. The Ocedon should be able to handle just about everything that's over there. Let me just go ahead and quickly pull out my Aureliax. Come on. There we go. Perfect. And where's Blizzard? There we go. Come on, grab him, please. Alright, there we go. And we're safe. Okay. So, I'm gonna go home and I'm going to go make a Sanguine to finish that off, because I do not want to risk getting thrown off on the final taming attempt and then ruining the effectiveness. So, let me just quickly head back home and grab a Sanguine, then we can finish that guy off, and then hopefully he'll give us good stats. So, I'll go grab a Sanguine, and then I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. There we go. Perfect. Let's see, what do we have? Short by 1 singular point. That's really upsetting. That's really upsetting. Alright, well. It's Nosodon, so I guess I can't complain too much. But I'm gonna complain regardless. Alright, so yeah, I guess that's taming an Nosodon with a Cryo. Can't exactly say I recommend it, but I mean, it was pretty fun, honestly. I like using these guys. I think that they're a nice fun addition, though. Not exactly sure if they're really the most useful. Let's just quickly go over and grab this Bronto and just see if by some miracle it actually had a good stat. Well, I guess it's a stamina Bronto. Not exactly what I was looking for, and unfortunately there's no Rhinos on this map, but I guess I'll take it. Not exactly what I was expecting. I thought that it had most of its points put into oxygen, but I'm not going to complain about getting a good stat, even if it's on a creature I don't really care about, and on a stat that I wouldn't really care about on that creature, but whatever. It's alright. I guess now my Bronto can actually move 2 feet without getting tired. But yeah, anyway, so as for the final thoughts on the Cryo after the mutation process, I'm not exactly going to say that this thing's worth taming. Again, I'm not really able to test out its ability to apply armor to your tames in the middle of combat, just because I don't have other people to go ahead and really make that useful. So maybe in a multiplayer setting, particularly a PvP setting, that might actually be a really nice ability to have, but when I'm just sitting here as a solo on a PvE server, I mean, isn't particularly what I'm really looking for. But honestly, the ability to knock things out basically for free as long as there's snow or water nearby, it's pretty nice. And honestly, he was able to tank the damage pretty well. So if I had just an area where I was able to just run around in the open and just go ahead and knock stuff out, I mean, I would definitely recommend using one of these guys. Honestly, what I'm hoping, I don't expect this whatsoever, but what would be really nice is that if on Genesis Part 1, there's obviously a snow biome, and the bog has a lot of water in it, so already being able to just run around on a relatively fast creature in those biomes with a bunch of water, being able to knock stuff out, might make knocking things out a little bit easier. But hopefully, and this probably isn't going to happen, but again, I can hope, these guys will be able to basically punch through the, it's not exactly armor, but the effect that X creatures have of taking reduced damage from tamed creatures and survivors, which obviously makes knocking X creatures out really annoying. If these guys could go ahead and push past that effect, I could see them being really helpful for knocking out X variants, which would make taming X Rexes, X Spinos, and I think it's X Utis are the other really big one. It would make taming stuff like that a lot easier, and again, I mean, I have to assume that they're going to be on the map because there's a giant Arctic biome, and it would kind of be a little bit ridiculous to not have the Cryo on a map that has a bunch of snow. So, if that is the case, then I think these things will actually be really useful on that map, but for the most part, I gotta say, they're not particularly the most useful. They're definitely fun to use, don't get me wrong, but their actual utility when compared to just a really good long neck rifle with shocking tranq darts, I just don't really see it being more viable than using normal torpor applying methods. But definitely a fun creature to go ahead and use, and I honestly like the idea of being able to freeze things solid and knock them out, and that does more damage. And again, in a PvP setting, that might actually be really valuable, but as a PvE player, not really that important to me. I'll definitely try to use this guy a little bit, and when I go out to knock out creatures with a lot of torpor, more than just a couple shots with my rifle, I'll probably go ahead and use him just because it'll be more interesting. But for the most part, I think he's probably just going to sit around the house looking really nice, because I do think the colors actually turned out really well, and yeah, I'll definitely go ahead and try this guy out a little bit more, but that's all that I really have time for now. So, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, farewell.